Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And once again, this is the 1-day chart. We're sitting here just under 55 cents. It was a green day for XRP. It was also a green day for Bitcoin. So maybe everybody is right. Maybe this week is going to be big for crypto. Let's wait and see how it all plays out. This comes from Grape Drop. XRP rally likely as Ripple Swell conference is held this week. Now there's a lot of speculation around Ripple Swell all of a sudden. People are saying RLUSD, Ripple's new stablecoin, is going to go live today. But it's just speculation until it happens. A lot of other people are saying that new stablecoin is going to send XRP to $10 like an overnight event. Those people are wrong. Here's what I see happening. Ripple's launch of RLUSD is nothing more than that stablecoin going live. It has to be utilized, and that's going to bring value over time. It's not going to happen suddenly. However, I do believe it's going to put us on the path to breaking $1 for XRP, and it will continue to add value more and more over time. That's how I see it playing out. Ripple's annual flagship event serves as a dynamic platform for thought-provoking discussions, groundbreaking insights, and unparalleled networking opportunities. Now, a lot of you ask me who is going to be at Ripple Swell, and I'm going to go scroll through this really quick, and I'm going to point out some of the key players that I think are going to have an impact on where XRP goes from here. So we know Brad Garlinghouse is going to be there. Coinbase is also going to be there. CME Group, BBVA, Monica Long, Revolut, MoonPay, Bitwise, Blockchain Association, Stuart Alderati. I'm sure he'll be talking about how shitty Gary Gensler is. Crypto.com, Mercado Bitcoin, Pantera Capital, Securitize. Then you see Gemini and Archax, Graham Rodford. I'm hoping he gives us a timeline for tokenized assets coming to the XRP ledger. He's the guy that said Archax is going to bring $30 to $50 trillion in real world assets to the XRP ledger. Hopefully now he can give us a better timeline. Honestly, I think Archax is going to hit the ground running with tokenized assets in the EU long before it ever happens in the United States. James Wallace will be there. Grayscale, I think they're going to also be talking about tokenization. Western Union, Bloomberg, FV Bank, BNY, BCB Group, Stripe, PayPal, Robinhood. I think this Ripple Swell is going to be incredible. Bitstamp and Uphold are also going to be there. I just wanted to go through that list really quick because I know a lot of you asked in the comment section who is going to be attending Ripple Swell. Let's talk about ISO 222, FedNow, crypto regulations, etc. It's all about leveling the playing field. You know, when it comes to ISO, all these retail investors all over X keep saying that crypto has nothing to do with ISO 222. Well, then why were only a handful of cryptocurrencies named as being compliant to ISO? And I still think ISO is going to bring value to a lot of these cryptocurrencies, these utility-driven cryptocurrencies. But it is all about leveling the playing field. How institutional FOMO happens for FedNow by the end of 2024. As the sudden number of corporate participants and FedNow rises to 50%, suddenly there will be a greater justification for participants to try and connect various domestic instant payment networks. Fed representatives state that they are counting on FOMO within financial community to adopt FedNow to stay competitive with other banks as the adoption number rises for the payment service. Like I said, whoever goes first with real-time payments, whoever goes live first will always have the upper hand on the competition. And a FedNow report to U.S. credit unions states by the end of 2024, 50% of banks and credit unions will be up and running with FedNow. Once this projected threshold of 50% FedNow adoption is reached, institutional FOMO will begin. So they're already telling you that there's going to be a lot of traction around FedNow. We also know Ripple is going to be part of FedNow. I still think they're going to utilize XRP for on-demand liquidity inside of FedNow. Yes, once Walmart introduces FedNow to its millions of customers, others will quickly follow. Walmart with FistServe is forcing a conversation to happen earlier than almost anybody else would have expected it to happen. This conversation is about transitioning to all digital systems like FedNow. Walmart's involvement in the FedNow rollout has accelerated the timeline for instant payments, pushing the industry to adopt these systems sooner than anticipated. As a retail giant, Walmart has the market influence to reshape industry practices. They set the standard for which systems are best, and the rest of the market typically follows. The timeline is moving faster. Like I said, all it takes is one. Once one company, once one bank starts to utilize RippleNet, same thing is going to happen there. Walmart to use FedNow in 2025. That's how quick things are starting to happen. I'm telling you right now, if you are not holding XRP by the end of this year, you are going to miss out. You are going to end up being left behind. Ripple top bosses to appear at Federal Reserve event. And this isn't happening by accident. So both Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson are to appear at the 8th annual FinTech conference hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. It will take place on October 22nd and October 23rd. And look at what they're focused on. Topics such as tokenized deposits, the tokenization of real-world assets, and the impact on fintech on the modern financial landscape. So we already know that they're going to be pushing for tokenized deposits very soon, and real-world assets as well. But why would the Fed work with Ripple? Brian Brooks told you long ago why Ripple and XRP were chosen by the United States. Take a listen.
So the point that I always try and tell people is, the biggest issue that I always try and focus on is cryptocurrencies are really not about currency. And the biggest misunderstanding of this whole discussion is the belief that if crypto is not doing a great job of replacing the US dollar, then crypto is failing in its mission. And what I think we'll talk about a little bit today is the idea that most of crypto is about replacing the centralized banking system with networks that allow user control versus bank CEO control. The crypto assets that have prices are more like internet stocks. It's more like you bet on Google if you think there's going to be high internet traffic, and you short Google if you think people are going to go back to the post office, right? But it's not that Ethereum or Ripple or anything else is trying to replace the US dollar. It's trying to replace a system of transmitting value. And we'll talk a lot more about that. So for me, the prices are not that relevant any more than Google's volatility is. And in the early days of Google, that was super volatile.
So think about that. So the price fluctuations right now are insignificant. Think about Google in its early days. But the reason that the Fed is so willing to work with Ripple and XRP is because they're not trying to compete or replace the US dollar. Now, what are Bitcoin maxis always saying? Get out of the US dollar and get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's eventually going to replace the US dollar because Bitcoin has no real utility. It can't fix the current financial system, so it has no place in the future financial system or even in this current financial system as well. What Ripple is doing is they're upgrading all the plumbing that value runs on. They're upgrading Swift. They're going to make FedNow a household name over the coming months. Most likely by this time next year, everyone you know will have most likely heard of FedNow. You talk to them today, and they have no idea what FedNow even is. And isn't it ironic that Brad and Chris are meeting with the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve, Neil Kashkar, states Bitcoin is worthless. And right away, Bitcoin maxis will say, how is it worthless? Look at the price of Bitcoin. But words mean things. What he's telling you is Bitcoin really, going forward, is going to be irrelevant. You think this guy doesn't realize a whole new financial system is coming? He absolutely does, because he works at the Federal Reserve. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink explains why Bitcoin is better than gold. This guy is still shilling Bitcoin every single day. Take a listen to what he says here.
Instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the onerous problems of any one country, or the devaluation of your currency, whatever country you're in, let's be clear. Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency, and so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative.
Now, here's my problem with all of this, okay? This guy is on the mainstream media news telling you that Bitcoin is better than gold. Yet every time a crisis in the real world breaks out, Bitcoin plummets. Gold doesn't plummet, and I still look at gold as a better hedge against inflation. And what are all the central banks doing right now? They're stockpiling gold. A gold-backed currency is coming. And once we get a gold-backed currency, that will end Bitcoin like an overnight event. Then he goes on to say this. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink states, Bitcoin will become as big as the U.S. housing market. Currently, the U.S. housing market is valued just above $50 trillion. That's 37x Bitcoin's current market cap of 1.3 trillion. In other words, Bitcoin is going to 2.5 million, according to the largest asset manager in America. Now, here's the problem I have as well. Why would this guy ever help anyone get rich but himself? BlackRock does not care about anyone. We all know BlackRock's history. And I look at it like this. They are trying to get every new crypto investor into Bitcoin. And something big is eventually going to go down. I mean, you have the CEO of Franklin Templeton telling you that it's nothing but a distraction. You have the ECB telling you Bitcoin is going to become irrelevant. The BIS tells you Bitcoin is no good for transactions and they don't see it as a store of value. The World Bank never even mentions Bitcoin one time ever. Okay, but they do mention XRP and XLM. The BIS talks about Ripple and XRP. The ECB talks about Ripple and XRP. So are you going to listen to this guy who's buying up all the houses in America and putting people out on the street and pushing the prices of houses higher and higher? And I still believe a market correction is coming in the housing market as well. The crash is most likely going to happen at some point next year. But are you going to believe him? Are you going to believe the central bank of all central banks? Are you going to believe the World Economic Forum? and, you know, all the elites that are looking at XRP as the future and Bitcoin as the past. Something is going on with BlackRock is what I'm telling you. They're shilling it way too hard. Same thing with Michael Saylor all of a sudden. He's calling Bitcoin a supercomputer now. I don't even know where this guy comes up with this shit at this point. But they are way overhyping it. And when you way overhype something, that means something's coming or there's something wrong going on in the background. And everybody talking about all these ETF inflows, that's all just paper Bitcoin created by BlackRock and working with corrupt Coinbase. But you know, we're XRP holders. The value that we're going to see come to this cryptocurrency is going to be real value. And real value will eventually end the hype. I think right now we are in a major hype cycle. All the hype is out there. But once utility comes, once XRP starts to break out and have real value pushing the price, the hype will suddenly end. And I think all the smart money will transition into XRP and the rest of these utility-driven cryptocurrencies. That's how I see this ending. And I think once that happens, that's even going to end the 4-year cycle idea. I think it's going to throw the whole cycle off. Because once you have utility, that could last for a long period of time. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.